Okay, good morning from the Midwest United States. Little introduction. My name is Maxwell Corvora. I'm a relatively new member of Signal Cartel, just under 3 months now. We're going to go over Thera mapping. Just a quick history. I did kind of a beginner's class a little while ago. I did an advanced class, and I think I have an understanding now to really kind of do a complete class that kind of goes over all the parts from beginner, intermediate to advanced level of Thera. So, Trouble, can you guys hear me okay on Twitch? Okay, great, great, great. Um, Perfect. So, yeah, like I said, I think I have a good understanding now. I can get everything. There's a few great tools that we have, but I'm going to really kind of hopefully um, model this class for as if you've never done any Thera mapping before. So there might be a few things here that we go over that might seem mundane for a few of you scanners that have done this for a while. But hopefully there's a few tips here that could kind of, also the other point of this class is to kind of increase your speed and your efficiency in Thera. So first, I guess why? My first part of this is, why do we do this? This is something that we do for fun. We don't get anything out of this. Well, sort of. This is a thankless job. But so the first is service. You have all joined Signal Cartel, to avoid being a line member in a 1,000-member fleet, or to avoid 8 hours of mining. You join Signal Cartel because you want to do something different, hopefully. Um, this is kind of one of the original services that Johnny Splunk, over 5 years ago, I should say longer than that, when he first started scanning Thera. But this is one of the original services that we as Signal Cartel offer to the greater Eve community. And just kind of, hopefully you all can see Eve Scout on my screen. This was designed and it's maintained by Johnny Splunk. So you can all see that. I don't know if I've updated this, but this has every connection in Thera, the outsig, the insig, estimated life, who made it, a host of other, great information. Everybody uses this. I'll be honest. I asked Johnny Splunk, how many people is there 5 people using this in the world? Are there 1 million people? He told me in the last 3 months, there have been 7,000 unique visitors. So that's quite a bit. There have been more hits to the page, but 7,000 people in 3 months are using this. And they expect, accuracy and the up-to-date kind of SIGs of what we provide, the service that we provide to the greater Eve community. So the third part of why we do this is we do get money. There's a secret algorithm that no one really knows, but every Sunday when Johnny Splunk does his payouts, if you do 1, if you do 50, if you do 100, there's this secret algorithm, and you'll actually get ISK. It's not a crazy amount of ISK, but it could be. I've gotten, 5 million ISK, I've gotten 100 million ISK, depending on how much I do, how many Therascans I've made, and how many other people. It's kind of a set amount, and then they, based upon the ratio, I heard through the grapevine that it's 500 million a week, and they disperse that equally, or I shouldn't say equally, but based on how many um, scans you've made comparatively to other members. But won't go into that. But there is actually some money. I could tell you I would do this for free, but it's nice to have a little money, for your time and your effort. For some people, Thera mapping is something you do all day, every day. For some people, it's your, first activity before you go exploring, or whatever you do. For some people, it's your ending activity, what you do before you log off, for the day or the evening or wherever. So um, that's kind of why we do this. So let's talk about, I need to do a few things for Thera to set up outside of the game. I need to set up my browser. Now, you can all see a few tabs, my boring bookmarks there, but I have 4 tabs set up. So I want to set up my browser because during the stream, I'm going to constantly be switching, because as I'm entering information in game, I'm also entering information out of game. So first, I always want to have my Allison set up. Not really, I'm not using it for Thera scanning too much, but there's no reason not to be using it. So second thing is my tripwire. So this is a tool that Eve Scout pulls data directly from to populate all the information on the Eve Scout. So when we put information into tripwire, that's the moment that it is sending that information to evescout.com and broadcasting that information to the greater Eve community. I won't go into too much how to use Thera, overall, but I am going to just a friendly reminder is that we have different masks. Masks are kind of what information you share between other people using tripwire. So I'm going to go up to settings. On the top right, it was that little gear. I'm going to go to my account settings. It's very, very important. So I have a few things, a private mask, our Corp Signal Cartel mask. I'm in the Anoikis division. I have that mask, but it's very, very important when you're mapping Thera to be selecting this Eve Scout mask. And then the opposite, when you're done mapping for Thera, you want to take off that Eve Scout mask. So very, very, very important. So I do have it selected. Friendly reminder, I do want to have the Eve Scout page up, because as I enter my information in game, out of game, this is a good kind of quality control. I want to make sure that it actually updated. And then the TheraScan tool. This is the tool to rule them all. I'm going to link this into the Twitch chat. This is a tool that everybody should be using. There's no reason not to use it. It does everything automatically. Okay, it does everything you need from start to finish. I don't think it's an official Signal Cartel standard, but again, there's no reason not to do that. So I am going to bring up the TheraScan tool. Automates a lot of the things we do to map the Thera signatures. So I am on my other screen right now. I want to just link under the DII the Thera scanning. This I'm going to link in Twitch right now. That is the official, fundamental, foundational way to map Thera. That has everything manually, how to make the bookmarks. That is what you're going to want to read first at some point, just to get an understanding of the foundation, how to make the bookmarks, the format. That has all the information that I glossed over about tripwire and the masks to set up. So that is important. It literally goes step by step, when to warp to signatures, how far away, it's a very safe system, but it's a very slow system. So as we talk about, you're going to see me in my system, in my methodology for mapping Thera. It might not fit yours. You're going to develop a style as you map Thera that you're comfortable with, because ultimately it depends on your own piloting ability and your comfortability, if comfortability is a word. I'm going to do some things that might seem dangerous. Now, the biggest thing here is as we map Thera is we don't expect you to lose a ship. We don't expect you to put your ship in danger. This should be an easy, relaxing activity. So don't do anything if you're not comfortable doing it. There's many ways to be safe when you're doing this, and I'm going to ignore that. So I'm going to do a lot of things that that might put me at a little bit of risk. But again, I've developed my own kind of comfortability with what I'm doing here. So, so I guess, so we've set up out of game. So I set up my scan tool, I set up my tripwire, my Allison is always set up, and my Eve Scout. So let's set up in-game. These are the things I need to properly map Thera in-game. So you should see a cloaked pacifier there, my crazy user interface. So I am clicking here right now on the Eve Scout Intel channel. So this is very important. I want to join eve-scout.intel. As I am mapping Thera, I want to communicate to other people. Not that we don't love doing double work, but we don't love doing double work. There are other people that might be mapping Thera as you log in. You want to communicate what you're working on, so therefore, 2, 3, 4 people aren't working on the same thing. So you always want to join that. You don't always have to be in that channel. There's people that are always in that channel. But you definitely step-by-step want to kind of communicate what steps you're on and what you're doing as you map Thera in that channel. Second is the people and places. That's Alt-E. You can see my my bookmarks. So there's points here where I'm going to manipulate bookmarks. I might need to remove, and I'll go more into detail, expired bookmarks. I have my people and places up, and these are all some personal folders and stuff not to worry about. But the biggest thing I want to have joined, or I want to join, is this Eve Scout Thera folder. So this, and I am going to link this, I guess, in Alliance chat. Off the top of my head, I can't think of where it is. Oh, it's right in the, isn't it in the, yeah, it's right in the Intel channel anyways. So right here, this is the folder that you want to connect to and you want to online it. You don't always have to online it, but especially when you're doing Thera scanning, you want to have that active, as I do now. And then, of course, the fourth thing that I want to do, setting up in-game, is my probe scanner. Duh. I mean, as an explorer, I should always have my probe scanner active, and what I need to do now to start, or I won't do that yet. Last thing is the saved locations in Thera. That's this, or wherever you're at. I'm going to close this. The magic, this was just added fairly recently, but press L when you're in game. That'll bring up every bookmark, regardless of what folders you have active, every bookmark that is active in the system you're currently in. So this obviously has my our Signal Cartel bookmarks for our stations. This has all of our Thera signatures, just an easier way. Again, I can do the same thing in the people and places part, but this is just an easy tool that I would recommend always having open for whatever you're working on. So whatever you're doing in Eve, remember, press L. Okay, so I am set up out of game. I have my browser stuff, right? All my 4 windows. I am set up in game. I have my Intel channel going. I have my people and places. I have my probe scanner. I have my Thera folder, shared bookmark folder set up. So, and I have my my current system save location set up. So I am ready to go, and we are 16 minutes in here. I want to talk a little bit about ships. Okay, there's no wrong. Well, I guess I should say there are wrong ships to use, but you can use pretty much any ship to scan Thera if it has a probe scanner in it. Okay, you can use the starter T1 ships. You can use an Astero. You can use a T2 covert ops ship. I'm using a pacifier just because I like to, but it doesn't matter. I mean, eventually you're going to want to be efficient. I don't know if it needs to be said, but you do have to use a frigate. You could do a T3 cruiser, but there's no reason. It's too expensive, and there's wormholes that are too small for cruisers. So you're going to want to stay to a frigate. Positives and negatives. T2 covert op ships are fantastic. They just suffer from capacitor. We all know Thera is a gigantic system, and with T2 covert op ships, you might run out of capacitor, and that just kind of ruins your, slows down your efficiency. Asteros are great, but they're slow. Unless you really start rigging up your warp speed, they're base of 5 AU per second. Again, it's fine. The stairs are great with the align time, but it's slower, to warp across 300 AU. T1s are obviously fine to use. That should be where you're starting from. I like the pacifier. It's an expensive ship, but it has the highest AU warp speed. With my current fit, I'm going 15 AU per second. So for me, that's what works. For you, again, you figure out, what works best for your style. So, let's go a little bit more. We're just about ready, I promise. In space. So we set up out of game, we set up in game, setting up in space. So we can see Signal Cartel, the normal standard Signal Cartel folder has 5 saves, which is great in Thera. Eventually, if you are a really pro Signal Cartel member, you're going to want to make more saves. I have not. I am bad. But you're going to want to make a safe around every planet. Now, we should know that signatures, they aren't 100% random in space. They are centered around a celestial, a planet. So having a safe by every planet would just, again, be the safest. As I'll explain more, but as we warp to different areas, we want to be close when we get to that warp in for the signatures. Okay, so starting off, we have our probe scanner up. I'm going to want to sort. It doesn't really matter, but the biggest thing is I want to get rid of all the already scanned, the combat sites, the ore sites. I already have some gas sites, and those are ones that I've already scanned down from earlier. But I want to get rid of all the combat sites. I'm going to ignore those, and the ore sites. Hopefully I didn't delete any gas sites that I scanned down earlier today. Remember, in Thera, the anomalies that already are scanned are not put into tripwire. Gas sites, wormholes, relics, data sites are all entered into tripwire. So if you just logged into Thera, I should have logged out and logged back in. You're going to have all just a bunch of red cosmic signatures. I have already scanned down some stuff earlier today. That's why I do have a few green, which is fine. Yeah, ice sites, yeah, or combat sites. So those should all be removed. And that's done by right-clicking and hitting ignore. Because if I enter those into the tool, and this will make more sense here in a second, those are all going to come up, and those are not necessary for what we need for the Eve Scout website. So let's start scanning. So I'm going to switch back to my Thera scanning tool. So here it's laid out pretty easily. And it's really from top to bottom. So first, I'm going to import the signature. So what the TheraScan tool does is it takes information. I have to manually copy and paste from in-game to the tool. And the magic by Misby, who made this tool, is it'll compare what's in Tripwire versus what's in-game and the differences. What signatures are expired, what signatures need to be added. And it tells you, it's so great. I can manually look at all the different IDs, and I can look at ATM, and I could switch to Tripwire and see if there's an ATM done. And I could go one by one, okay, and see what needs to be added, what needs to be taken away. But again, this tool does it for you automatically. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of these signatures in the probe scanner. I'm going to select them all. I'm going to hit Control A. And then I'm going to copy them. I'm going to hit Control C. So I'm switching back to my Thera scan tool. There's a nice little, I could manually paste it into one of these windows if I wanted to and it tells you very clear instructions. But I'm going to right click on this little graphic and paste. It'll automatically determine where that information is coming from and putting it into the appropriate box. So I've completed half of it. Now I need to get the information from Tripwire. So same thing. I'm going to click on one of them. I'm going to click on Control A to select them all. Then I'm going to copy them, Control C. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to right click here, paste. So this is great. So it is in a millisecond already compared all the different signatures that are currently in Thera and Tripwire, and it's compared them. So you're going to see some colors here. So this is great. At the bottom, there's a few buttons here. We can order it. Right now, it's ordered alphabetically by signature. Okay, A, C, D, right? Alphabetical order. So I can click on this working order, and it'll tell me what to work on first. It's just sorting. That's all it did. So if I had some expired signatures, which I do not, they would show up as kind of this orangey color. And that's okay for our purposes. We're going to scan just one signature today and kind of go through the process so you can all see how it's done. So this is the great thing about this TheraScan tool. I absolutely love it. Again, there's no reason not to use it. But I am going to, it goes from left to right. It's really, really easy. Okay. So, so I'm going to start. So from left to right, it gives you the instructions. So there's a lot of information that I don't have, that I need to enter it. Okay. So here's what's going to happen. So this is it's telling me that when it's blue, CKK 104 is a signature that it found in game, but it didn't find it in Tripwire. So this blue and this plus symbol is telling me I need to add it. I need to get information from in the game, enter the information into this tool to do what I need to do with the bookmarks, and then enter it into Tripwire. So we're going to do that. We're going to do it, and we're going to do just this one. So it's telling me CKK 104. So I'm going to decloak, launch my probes, decloak again, or I should say cloak. So I'm going to scan down. I can see all these signatures that I have. CKK, again, that's a signature that is in game, that is not in Tripwire. So I'm going to do my normal scanning. CKK is right here. So now the trick to first, I want to be the most efficient. So before I start scanning, I'm going to find a celestial that is close to the CKK signature and set up there. Doesn't matter which one. I mean, preferably not something dangerous like a combat site. Now, if you were good and you had a safe setup, I would warp there. But this is Thera 6. I'm going to right click here. I'm going to warp to 100 just because I love warping to 100. So what that means is as I'm working on scanning this site, I am already very close. So when I am ready to warp and start making my bookmarks and map the Thera site, I'm already very close. Again, are we saving 5 seconds? You know, maybe, but in the grand scheme of things, if I can save 5 seconds here, 5 seconds there, you know, this Thera scanning doesn't need, especially when you have 10 signatures, doesn't need to be an all-day activity. So ignore me as I do my normal scanning procedure. So I can see CKK as a wormhole, which is great. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a wormhole. Okay. So I have successfully scanned down CKK. So I'm going to recall my probes, close down my my solar system map. So I'm ready. So I'm ready to do what I need to do to complete the process. So here's what I am going to warp to 0. That may sound crazy. I am comfortable enough in my own ability. If I get stopped by a If I get stopped by a bubble, I know to turn around. This particular fit, I'm a wimp, and I have some warp core stabs that I know I'm hopefully going to be a little safe. And I'm pretty fast. I can warp away or warp to 0. If I'm really in that much trouble and there's a, say a fleet there, I can just warp right through. So I'm just going to right click, warp to 0. I might die here, but I haven't died yet, but we'll see. So you're going to see me switching a lot because I'm going to kind of enter information into the Thera scan tool as I go. So we're going to start CKK. We're going to go from left to right. So first, I want to map the type of system that I'm at. The type, that is the, when you click show info, that is this number, the K162. So I'm going to type that in. It's going to try and autocomplete, which is great. So the next thing to document is the system, the FAR system. Now, I haven't jumped through, so I don't know that yet, but this tells me, let's go through. So I am cloaked. It's going to take me a little bit to slow boat, to the wormhole, but I'm literally just going left to right in that Thera mapping, that Thera scan tool. Oh, and I'm hitting D-scan, of course, right? You're always hitting D-scan. Okay, so I have entered the new system. Allison is giving me her little update on how dangerous or not it is. Now I'm in the 60-second cloak timer. So I'm going to do something to help kind of protect myself here. Because I'm you're at a random point. I'm 6,732 meters away, a little dangerous. So I'm going to do, this is my personal style. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click. I'm going to orbit 2,500. I'm going to launch my probes. And I'm going to cloak. Now, the reason I did all that is 2,500 is a great distance for me. 2,500 is far enough away to stay cloaked. 2,500 is close enough to where, say, a random fleet does come, I can jump in real quick. Now, I know I should edit this. I am in a low-sec system, so this is a dangerous system. People can shoot me freely if they like. So the reason I launch my probes, is I have to find out what cosmic signature I'm at. So just for argument's sake, I'm going to get rid of these extra signatures. So here's kind of the cheat, the shortcut. Doesn't work very often, but sometimes it works, especially in high-sec systems. So I could be at any one of these cosmic signatures. Probability dictates that I'm probably at the ZMF, but you don't really know. So remember, Eve Scout is accurate. People depend on this, 100% accuracy. So I do need to scan these out because I could be at any one of these. Now the cheat here, which does not apply in this situation, is if there are any signatures, or I should say, if there is one signature that is 8 AU away or less, that is the signature. Now, if there are 2 signatures within 8 AU, you have to scan it down. The only situations where you wouldn't have to scan down the signature you're at is if there's one signature within 8 AU. Now, it could be 7.99 AU. It could be 0.5 AU. That's someone smarter than me has done the probability, has tested that where that is 100% the case. So in this situation and most situations, I need to scan down where I'm at. That's pretty easy. I'm setting my probes to 1 AU scan size. All I need to do is scan where I'm at. You are here because I am at the signature. I'm going to scan down myself. And that should be pretty easy. So I now have some more information I can start entering into the Thera scan tool. So I'm going to switch back and forth a little bit here, so bear with me. So I need the name of the system on the other side of the Thera wormhole. And I know that's Anin, A-N-I-N. So I can enter that in. Great. Now this is asking me, so this is all of these boxes apply to this far system that I'm in. So I need the signature that I'm in. So I just scan that down. That is AIU 280. And I'm just manually typing that in. And also the type. So we knew it was a K162 on the other side. On this side, I can see right in my overview, but I can click on Show Info. It is M164. Perfect. So I now have all the information I need to set up these bookmarks and enter into Tripwire. I'm not done yet. So here's the great thing. So I need to make two bookmarks. I need to make one on the Thera side, and I need to make one on the FAR system side. The beautiful thing about this, this tool is that it formats it for you, where you can just, if you haven't noticed, but you can copy and paste. If you left click on anything in this TheraScan tool, it automatically copies it to the bookmark. So as I'm going on and talking, I'm just going to make sure there isn't anything crazy by me. I am going to close my solar system map, recall my probes, because I'm going to get ready. So the bookmark format, very, very important. The DII will explain this format. But basically on the far side, my bookmark format is the signature, the system you're in, a hyphen, and a greater, remember 5th grade math, greater than symbol, telling you where it goes, and to Thera. So again, signature, system you're in, destination system. So I'm going to make that bookmark, and all I need to do is left click on it. So I'm going back to EVE Online. I'm going to right click on my overview on the wormhole, save location, and all I need to do, and I'm making sure I'm in my correct folder. I'm making sure that I'm on 2-day expiry. You don't want to do never. You don't want to do 3 hours. It doesn't matter. Definitely don't do 3 hours. We'll be cleaning up the bookmarks here. But I'm going to want to just Control V. Again, I could have typed manually AIU 280, Anin, Thera, but that tool, all I had to do was copy and paste. So I have everything I need, and I want to set it again to 2-day expiry. Hit submit. So I can see now on my save locations, my little cheat folder, that there is a bookmark in this system that anyone can access. As we know, the Eve Scout Thera shared bookmark folder, anyone can access. That is telling everybody where it is and giving them the information to get into Thera. So I'm done. I'm done in this system. I closed my solar system map. I've recalled my probes. I'm going to go back through because now I need to make the bookmark in Thera. Okay, we look safe. There's no baddies by. So I'm going to I could do a lot on grid here. So this is just something I personally do. Because remember, I have my 60-second cloak on. I'm going to double click somewhere away from the wormhole. I'm going to hit my micro warp drive, just pulse it once, just to get a little distance. Hit my probes, and I'm going to cloak. Technically, I'm getting ready for the next system I'm scanning. That's kind of my setup. As I get further and further away, I get safer and safer and safer. So, but we're not done yet. Remember, we're going left to right here. So now I can make the bookmark inside Thera. Again, so this is a little different format that you can do manually, but the format in Thera is the signature, space, the destination system, space, the type of wormhole, or I should say the type of system. LS is low sec, HS high sec, we have C1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 13, all the different types of systems. But basically it's low sec, high sec, and the class of wormhole. So I'm going to make left click once. I'm going to right click on the wormhole itself, save location, Control V. Again, I'm making sure I'm 2-day expiry. I'm making sure I'm in the right folder. That is already formatted correctly. Again, I could have typed that manually, but why if you don't have to? Submit. Okay, so I am almost done. I am almost done here. So now in game, I have everything I need that communicates in game to everybody using the Thera folder. However, it's not in Tripwire. No one knows about it on the internet yet on evescout.com. So I need to get that information to everybody out there. So no one knows about it yet. When I hear someone coming through a wormhole, I'm 63 away. I should be pretty safe to be on another screen. So I can go to my Tripwire. Ooh, one thing we didn't do is we want to check on the life of the wormhole. I forgot about that. So that's showing info. I want to kind of take a look at these two sentences, or I should say these two sentences. So this wormhole is beginning to decay and probably won't last another day. And this wormhole has not yet had its stability significantly disrupted by ships passing through it. That is vital information. Darn it, and I don't have the Eve Uni link, which is fine. That's the information that I can enter into Tripwire. Now, I won't go too much into detail right now, but the information it's giving me right now, meaning I can just kind of put the default information into Tripwire. How come? So I'm going to do a few things. I'm going to go off on a little tangent here. I apologize. So to add a new signature to Tripwire, I'm going to click the little plus button. Okay. So I can do a few things here. So I'm going to switch back and forth between screens a little bit. But to add the signature, it gives all the perfect information here. You know, what type of signature. So I can enter in the ID. What did it say? I'm going to actually look at it was CKK104. So I'm doing this all manually. Okay. The type of wormhole. And I'm looking at the Thera scan. Now I could also click this and paste if I really wanted to. It was a K162. Now, system that it leads to. What system did this lead to? I'm looking and I'm switching back and forth. It was ANAN. Okay, it all auto-completes. The name, oh, that's my name, sorry. Name is not used in this situation, but the life and the mass, that's when I clicked on show info. If I wanted to put some information, some more accurate information. Right now, stable and stable is accurate for our purposes. And on the other side, they want the ID. What was it? AIU 280. And then the type. What is it? It was M164. Perfect. And again, name is not used in our situation. So this is it. This is all I needed. If I hit add, now I'm going to go off on a little tangent here and do something different. But this is all I would need it. So I made in the end, Thera scanning is three things. It's making a bookmark on the other side, making a bookmark in Thera, and entering that information into Tripwire. That's really all Thera scanning is. You know, it's fairly easy. Of course, there's the 100,000 steps, and that tool does a lot of that automation. But I'm not going to make this because I want to go a step further into becoming a little bit more in detail. So, yeah, I don't know, Trouble. They're talking about name. Now, here's what I've used the name portion for. I'll give you an example. Like when I'm just, I've never used it in Thera, but something I've used in is when I'm just exploring on my own, just getting lost in wormhole space. And sometimes, you know, when I want to map out an entire system and there's 5 or 6 different wormholes, uh, you know, we will know that when it says unknown parts of space, we know it's a C1, a C2, or a C3. Oh, yeah, you said that. I've never used it except to remind myself of the C number. Um, and I haven't gone through it, I'll use that. If it says dangerous unknown, I'll kind of make a note there if I haven't gone through it yet. Yeah, then that's exactly what you said. So I don't know. Honestly, if someone knows or if someone has a use for that, I'd imagine you can use that for anything. But I don't know. Yeah, I've never really used it. So um, okay, so I want to, now this is a pain in the butt. No, we added that tripwire, right? And that was kind of a pain in the butt, switching back from the tool to here to enter this and then back and forth and back and forth. Sorry if this is making you dizzy. So there is another automated way that we can add a tripwire information, or I should say the Thera scan tool information into tripwire. So don't be intimidated. This was a little crazy. I was afraid to do this for months. I have zero experience programming, zero experience automating, developing anything. And this was easy for me. So we can all see the great thing. Another great thing about this tool is at the very bottom, there's a section marked instructions. So if you never knew anything about Thera mapping, you never attended a class like this, you never looked at the DII, this gives you step-by-step of everything I'm doing right here. So how wonderful is this? Just to have everything and how to use this tool, how to use it in game. If you ever need to reference anything that you're doing, it's all right here under this instructions. But the very important part to this is a bookmarklet. I didn't know what a bookmarklet was until about a month ago. Okay, a bookmarklet is related to a bookmark. Now you're going to see some very scary programming here. Don't even worry about it right now. So what a bookmarklet does is it is a bookmark in your browser. It does work with most browsers. And all it does is it kind of creates a set of instructions. Instead of actually going to a page, which bookmarks do, it kind of sets up, and again, forgive my ignorant programming terminology here, but it gives a set of instructions, this one specifically, from taking information from the TheraScan tool and pasting it into Tripwire. Instead of one by one entering manually in the fields, this is going to create a quick control, another copying and a way to enter all that information with one key. And again, does that save 5 seconds? Sure. But again, like I said before, 5 seconds here, 5 seconds there. This doesn't need to be an all-day activity. So I've already set up. So you can see all my boring bookmarks, my personal, Discover, LinkedIn, YouTube, who cares? But I've already set up this Tripwire bookmarklet. So I'm going to do that though. It's so much easier. Yes, accuracy too is important. How many times, I think Gian did it one time where I put in a bookmark manually and it was off by one number. So he's scanning the poor thing because the TheraScan tool told him to, because I was one number off. Yes, and Vlad is absolutely correct. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a bookmark. Now I'm using Chrome here. You can do this, yeah, zeros and T's, exactly. The way I add a bookmark is in Chrome, you add a star. So you can technically make this in any, it doesn't matter what tab you're currently in. So I'm going to name this whatever. For our purposes, I'm going to call this book Thera bookmarklet. It looks like I named my original Tripwire booklet. Doesn't matter. You can name it best bookmark. You can name it whatever. Doesn't really matter. I like it right on my screen as far as the folder. So now the URL. Again, all bookmarks go to a certain URL. instead of a URL, oh shoot, I'm going to start that over because I guess I need to. Instead of a URL, I'm going to highlight all of this very long code. I'm going to Control C. So I'm going to start that over. And instead of the URL, I'm going to paste that code, that big long code that I have no idea what it does, but it will change your life. Okay. It will absolutely change your life. Now I got to get back to where I was. So I made that bookmarklet. Again, you don't have to use this bookmarklet at all. I didn't for months. But again, just another tool that MISB made to make your life a little bit easier. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this in Tripwire. Now, the very important thing about using this bookmarklet is I need to run it on the Tripwire tab. So in this case, I have two. Don't worry. Now, it does nothing. It technically ran a set of instructions to be able to paste information in Tripwire. You didn't have to do anything to it, but make sure you run. Now, if you ever close down the tab and reopen Tripwire, or say you refresh Tripwire, you do need to run this bookmarklet again, which again, visually, you can't see anything that it does, but very important that it ran that set of instructions. So I'm going back, let's close this instructions. So again, I made CKK 104, but it is still not in Tripwire. Remember, I did it manually, but I didn't add the bookmark. I just wanted you to see how to do it both ways. So there is this magic button right here. I'm going to left click. That copied all of this information into one kind of clipboard entry, if I'm saying that right. Now I'm going to go into Tripwire. Now normally without that bookmarklet, if I tried to copy all that information, it is only going to try and paste into this one window, and it doesn't work. But with those set of instructions that the bookmarklet ran, watch, it doesn't work here. I can paste this. Please work, please work, please work. I'm going to press Control V. And it somehow, through the magic of programming and the internets, it copied every piece of information specifically, and it knew where to copy it from the Thera scan tool. So it's magic, right? So I'm going to click Add. And that's it. I have my bookmark on the far side. I have my bookmark on the in Thera, and I just made the Tripwire signature. So the last thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to double check myself. So I am going to refresh, sort by last updated, and let's pray it could take up to a minute. Please work, please work. Hopefully there will be a CKK outsig signature, and I must be lying to you all. Yep, it's in there. We'll just kind of wait a second here. I'm gonna look like a huge jerk if this didn't work. There it is. There it is. So remember, it was in ANN. It's sorting by jumps. It was at CKK. The insig was AIU. I don't know how long it is, but I set it by the Tripwire default. So that is perfect. So I did everything. Now I want to go over one last part to the tool. Okay, I'm going to close down scan signatures, the bookmarks. So we are not perfect. We are human, including myself, believe it or not. As we, one thing we aren't going to do today is removing bookmarks. Well, you know what? Actually, let's scan and let's see if there are any expired bookmarks. I'm going to refresh to start over from scratch. I don't think there is. But kind of let's see if I can give you an example of removing an expired bookmark. So I'm going to start over. I'm going to paste my probe scanner information. I'm going to copy and paste my tripwire information, and it is still all new 6, which is fine. Okay, so we're not going to do it today, but I want to show you one last thing about bookmarks is we're all guilty of not deleting bookmarks. Okay, we love to add new signatures, but sometimes we're not perfect, and like I said, including myself at removing old bookmarks, and that's okay because we set them to either never to expire, or we set them to a 2-day, and sometimes wormholes don't last that long. So if we forget, they're always there, which can be confusing. This tool tells us. But again, some of us are not using this tool, and that's fine. But this is a way, like kind of a double checker, just to see if all the bookmarks are accurate. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into my people and places. I have all my folders. I'm going to open up the Thera folder, and I'm going to copy. This is real easy. I'm going to click. I could technically click on them all. I'm not going to click on the default ones. I have them sorted alphabetically. So I'm going to shift there or click there, shift click at the bottom, Control C to copy all those bookmarks, and I'm going to Control V. Okay, so that was importing bookmarks. So it automatically opened up the Manage Bookmarks. Now, to be very clear, this is not accurate. What you're looking at, this is not accurate. Or I should say, this is not accurate right now. But this is a beautiful tool. Again, because as we're done scanning and as we want to finish our kind of Thera mapping session, this is the last thing we're going to want to look at. Bookmarks are going to confuse people, even if they're not showing up in Eve Scout. We want to get rid of any expired bookmarks. So in a normal situation, now the reason this is not accurate right now is because I still have bookmarks to scan, and they might be showing up. But when you're done scanning, you might get a screen that looks like this, right? That has a few that are scanned in yellow, or is this mustard? I don't know what color this is. But you're going to see different information here. And this is telling you right now that there are signatures that are still in, that are not in, that are not accurate. So you are welcome to, if you copied and pasted all correctly, if you are up to date, you're only going to want to do this when you have 0 expired and 0 new bookmarks to add. This is kind of the final step when you have an accurate board, is to paste your information here and see if there are any bookmarks that are not relevant. And you are good to delete these, the ones that are yellows. Not right now in this very specific, because I'm not done scanning. But in a normal situation, these are all ones you want to delete. So that should kind of end what I need to do. In a Thera mapping session, I'm going to want to do as many signatures as I'm comfortable with, hopefully finishing it, check my bookmarks, and then move on to my whatever I do in EVE Online. But it's always good to just, when you do finish, remember, it takes time to do your Thera scanning activity. It's not a terrible idea to do it right before you finish, is to re-import everything again, just to see there might be new wormholes that have come up or expired since then, just to finish. Again, you don't have to, but it's not a bad idea just to be 100% accurate. So the last thing I want to talk about, we're just finished here. I got 4 minutes. Takeaways. Takeaways today about speed and efficiency. So you saw me do, let me just make sure I'm not getting killed here. No, I'm still good. You saw me do a few things that could be seen as risky. Okay, remember, as I said 14 times, that's what I'm comfortable with. It's kind of luck of the draw if there's a gate camp and such. You don't have to. There's ways to warp to 100, play it safe, make the bookmarks there, and then warping back and forth. There's all these little things you can do to be a little more safe. But for me, I want to focus on speed and efficiency. Now, I've timed myself doing. Now, I'm not perfect. There are people that are faster than I am. But using these tools, I was at about 3.5 minutes on average. I did about 15 scans. So maybe if you're getting into this, maybe use that as a benchmark. Again, there's people faster than me, there's people slower than me, but about 3.5 minutes it took to completely start from scratch, make all the bookmarks, enter into Tripwire, and that's using all the tools. That's using, copying and pasting. That's using the bookmarklets. Um, so, some people it's longer, and that's okay. This is after a few months of me doing this. I promise it took a lot longer when I was first starting. So takeaways about speed and efficiency. Number one is I call it, and I didn't make up this term, but ABM, always be moving. The more you're moving, the more efficient you are, the less time you're on a certain grid, the less time people are looking, to destroy your ship. Always be moving. Remember how I was, setting myself up close to a signature while I'm scanning. I'm not the perfect multitasker at that. But if you're always kind of warping somewhere, you're being the most efficient. The second takeaway, kind of want you all to get from this, is multitasking. That's the ability to switch from in-game to the Therascan tool to the Tripwire and back and forth, and as you're moving and warping, you're entering information. I am fortunate enough to have a second screen to do a lot of this. You don't have to. Today I did this on one screen for you all. But the ability to realize the moment that you get that new information that can be entered in is to be the most efficient. And the last kind of takeaway is just simply this Therascan tool. Just a great system. Really, thank you to MISB, HAEV, for making this. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to message him. But I mean, I really can't think of anything that I can think of that needs to be changed, except for maybe putting his name on it. So I guess that's all I had. So I'm going to move into Discord to answer any questions. We're at about an hour now. I did record this, so I am going to be putting this on a YouTube channel if you all want to use it. But I am going to turn off the Twitch stream and then answer any questions you may have or don't. Or again, I'm a relatively new member to Signal Cartel, so if you have any suggestions for me, you won't hurt my feelings to make it faster. Again, I'm not perfect, and I'm not the fastest scanner in the world, but this is a team game here, and everybody's opinion is welcome. So, signing off Twitch here and moving over.